Hi guys, I'm Sally Lyndley. Welcome to this episode of Shop with Sally. This week we are going to talk about one of my favorite, I know they're all my favorite, but I love the idea of gothics and goth style on the beach. Now, I was inspired to bring you guys this style for the week by the Marc Jacobs show from Spring Summer 2014, where they did this amazing apocalyptic beach set. And they had all the kind of like gothy, pale looking girls in different crazy floral prints, like very kind of Hawaiian style of prints, like almost like very 70s style, but mixed with a whole bunch of Victorian clothing, which I loved. I love this kind of Tim Burton, Edward Gory, Patti Smith kind of vibe goes to the beach. I thought it was super cool. All the girls were super duper pale. They definitely have gothy vibes. They all had on these kind of bowl cut wigs that easily could have been a haircut from the 70s Venice, but instead of having the like sun-kissed hair, they all kind of had weird roots and looked like they bleached their hair out. So I love this show. I was super inspired by it, and I started thinking of kind of my other favorite goth and maybe a little bit grungy style type characters that I would love to see on a beach somewhere. I just think it would be hysterical. But also when you kind of, I kind of love the idea of getting like a Victorian, ball gown, not like something with structure, but like really easy like slips and like long Victorian lace dresses and things like this, and wearing them to the beach. I think it's hysterical, and it's definitely something, I don't know, I would do, and I think it's fun and funny. So when I think of designers for this, definitely obviously Marc Jacobs collection has some fantastic things, and I'll put some links to those clothes that he did below so you can see where the reference came from, and I'll also do a link to his runway show. But I also love the idea of like Charlotte Free, who's this crazy model who's from LA, who's kind of this little beach rat anyway, and she's super pale white. She usually has pink hair, but she's always in like some sort of like, Megadeth t-shirt with some like boy shorts, like board shorts, and and some like stupid, some weird sandals or combat boots. And then I was also thinking of like the model Jamie Bocart, who apparently was a big inspiration for this goth beach show, and because she came into her fitting with Marc because she's the big fit model there, and she came in like some just flowing Victorian dresses with like sandals, and she was like on her way to the beach. So he was super inspired by that. And I also love looking at old pictures of Patti Smith, and when I looked at some of the old pictures of Patti Smith that were on Google search, and I'll do a collage of it below, you could definitely see the influence in some of her dressing too in the Marc Jacobs collection. I love, of course, like Edward Gory, but I also love like a couple designers that I think of as hardcore goths, and when they do any kind of beachy vibe, or even just the idea of taking their clothing to the beach, I think is super funny. And definitely like a Rick Owens, who's like, to me, the futuristic goth of fashion. His shapes, and actually a lot of his fabrics are fantastic for the beach, because he does a lot of cottons and a lot of cotton jerseys, and they're actually quite, skin bearing and easy and comfortable to wear. And then you have also Anne Meester, who really recently retired from her own collection in a Martin Margiela style, and her team is continuing on, but her last collection was Spring Summer 2014. It was a fantastic collection with all these incredibly done straw-shaped beach hats, and it was kind of a long, flowy goth collection on the beach. And she did more of a color palette of black, of course, and nudes and bright reds, which I totally love for the beach, but maybe, for most people, a little bit not what you expect, because black and red actually tend to make you hotter on the beach. But if they're in nice flowy colors, flowy fabrics, it's quite fun to put on some big, huge black muumuu or like opera coat and head to the beach. So there's just some ideas there for inspiration. I also love, I know we featured Oak this last week. Oak has some fantastic pieces that I'll be featuring in the close episode for the beach, and they do tons of like linen like wrap dresses and their big ponchos and all that kind of stuff. So, and then as far as one other character I was kind of thinking of here was Pamela Love, who's an incredible jewelry designer, and she just completely has that goth bohemian vibe, and I'd love to see her doing a beachy moment. And then also Sky Ferreira, who is kind of this like funny little pop singer who looks a little bit like Madonna, but she's recently done her hair darker, and she totally looks like Goth at the beach to me most of the time. She wears tons and tons of Saint Laurent, so I'm gonna cruise through Saint Laurent and pick some pieces out from them as well, because Eddie's been definitely doing the Goth vibe there. But I love kind of bringing in that little bit of grunge, Goth, rock and roll vibe to what you consider your typical beach wear. So that's what we're gonna be exploring this week. Have fun, check out the collages below, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Shop with Sally. Check you later.